I'm Gabe Lullo, and welcome to the Do Hard Things podcast. We're talking to go-to-market leaders and entrepreneurs who have conquered the challenges, the hustle, and the grind. Get ready for real talk, real insights, and no fluff.
But the hardest thing in the world right now is not actually closing deals, it's actually getting somebody's attention.
If you don't have that hook in that first 5 to 10 seconds, guess what? They're going to scroll to the next one.
You need to go in and you need to make it sound like yourself. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle. And I promise you, we can all tell.
The people that are trolls and the people that are haters never done the thing that you're doing.
I love doing this podcast because I get a front row seat to some of the greatest minds in sales.
Gone are the days of saying stay in your lane. When you're an executive leader and you're an enterprise-wide leader, there are no lanes. You've got to be partners.
Curiosity is like when the type of questions you ask is sometimes the value that you bring.
I need you to tell me when you're ready to buy or what you're ready to do. And I think it's changed so much into like adding more value. And if you're not doing that, then you're definitely going to come off as desperate.
High pressure selling is like a dinosaur tactic at this point.
No parent is like, oh, you should be a salesperson when you grow up, right? Everyone's like a doctor, lawyer, whatever crap. It's never salespeople.
It's not your job to motivate people. It's your job to find motivated people.
It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence knowing I know this and I know that I can help you.
From where I started to where I am today is all because I learned how to sell.
And there's too many people who have only been doing this for 5 freaking minutes. Sit down, close your mouth, actually go out there and get yourself beat up. Then come back and tell me if something is dead or not.
That is exactly why I started this podcast, because right there, that's the epitome of doing hard things.
Welcome back to the Do Hard Things podcast with Lexi and Gabe. Today's guest, John Melton, is a serial entrepreneur, mentor, and network marketing veteran with over 2 decades of experience building businesses and helping others do the same. John has helped thousands of entrepreneurs build financial freedom from the ground up through his live training, podcast, and digital content, focused on lead generation, prospecting, social media, and the mindset it takes to win. John, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Do Hard Things podcast with your hosts, Gabe and Lexi. We are so excited to have you on the show, John. We just heard your bio. How you doing, man?
Living the dream, buddy. Keeping busy.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to the show. Let's just get right into it, man. Let's start at the beginning. Let me hear your origin story for our audience, because what really pulled you into network marketing, entrepreneurship, building business? Was there a specific moment, or did you just kind of know that this path was coming for you in your life?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. And yeah, I got started in direct sales, network marketing, entrepreneurship, whatever you want to call it, when I was like 20 years old. It was actually 2 weeks before 9/11, believe it or not. And I was very open-minded because I just hated the idea of going to school, getting a job, getting a piece of paper says, I'm smart, please hire me. But back then there was no Gary Vaynerchuk's. There was no there was no social media in 2001. So it was like, you only knew your local network of friends and what their parents did. I mean, it was never discussed. It was never like, hey, you could like start your own business. You could get into sales. Like, you don't have to have this piece of paper from some school saying you're smart. And I hated school I didn't like free school. So I'm like, why am I going to pay to go to school? I already hate the free stuff, right? So for me, I actually felt like there was something wrong with me. I thought I was like some loser. Like when you're young and you're just like into partying, hanging out with your friends, the weekends and drinking and girls. And I was getting in a lot of fights, unfortunately. Like, I was definitely headed down the wrong path. And years later, right, you hear like Grant Cardone's story, and he's like, the reason I was hooked on drugs is because I was bored. I had nothing else better to do. And I was like, yeah, that was probably me too, right? And it was a network marketing presentation that my friend brought me to. And it's funny because, later on you learn, like, if you want them to show up, you got to pick them up, right? So he picked me up, brought me to the meeting. And to be honest, I was very, very much a red apple. I was very open-minded, thought it was a genius idea. I'm like, why wouldn't everyone want to do this? Like, residual income, you can leverage your time through the time and efforts of other people. And you could be from Yale or jail. It doesn't matter. Like, anybody can be successful. And I was like, I was totally like buying into the whole story. And then I go home and talk to my friends and family. They're like, that's like a pyramid scheme. That's a scam. And I'm like, oh, really? And again, there's no like Google back then. There's no like YouTube. Like, I mean, there was the internet, but it just wasn't the same as it is today, right? So you're just kind of like ignoring people. And of course, in the presentations, they would talk about all the skeptics and, so I will say for about 2 years, I worked really hard. I was all in. I put a ton of time and effort into it. I spent more money than I made, and I was waiting tables on the weekends, right? So, like, I was not making money at all, but I was learning. And I didn't know that at the time, but looking back, like that was my like millionaire education, right? Like that was like how I cut my teeth and how I got started in this whole like entrepreneurial journey. And then the company did get shut down for being a pyramid scheme. So that was a lovely experience. Then I got into mortgage sales and I started making a lot of money in mortgage. That was when I finally made a lot of money. Actually, was in mortgages, but it was because, and Gabe, you know this, you were in network marketing at one point. Like it was because of what I learned in network marketing. And then I was able to apply it to, the mortgage industry and just like outworking everybody. I would make 100 calls a day and I would do whatever it took to be successful in that business because Nadia, who I met in network marketing, now my wife for 21 years, she got pregnant. And when she got pregnant, it's like, okay, I'm not going to continue to be a loser, sleeping in till 12 o'clock every day, drinking every night, blacking out. Like I need to make money. I need to be like a father, right? So that's how I got into mortgages because I had a big reason I needed to make money. And finally, I started making 5 figures a month. And, I haven't made less than 6 figures since 2004. And then eventually I got back into network marketing and finally started to see a little bit more success. And then social media came along and that's when it went and it just exploded.
Incredible story. I love it so much. And 2 decades in any industry is a long time. And you were in network marketing in the beginning and now you're in it again. What did the industry really change most and how have you had to evolve?
Great question. I mean, I think the biggest thing is the evolution of social media and, all of these influencers with their, affiliate links and, you can, click on the link in my bio and TikTok shop. Like there's so many ways to monetize your abilities, your talent, your network. There's so many ways to monetize your interests nowadays. Uh, there's some good things and some bad things with that because, some of these people can just like, post before and after pictures and they can, look at my product and, they're very good at that and they can sell, which is great. You can make a lot of money these days as an affiliate marketer, influencer, whatever, TikTok shop, all these things. But they kind of got away from developing leaders. And whether you're in network marketing or traditional business, like you want people to take on a leadership role. You want people to feel that responsibility. And it's something that we as a whole, as an industry, kind of got away from, but people are coming back to it because they're realizing like you can't just post and pray anymore. You can't just say, click on the link in my bio. And people there's what's called a recession or a trust recession right now because of AI and people don't even know what they're seeing anymore. They're like, is this a real person? Is this like, is that photo, is it photoshopped or is there a filter? Is it AI? Like they don't even know what they're seeing anymore. So that human connection is so important, probably more important than it's ever been. So it's been great in many ways because you don't just have to rely on pitching your friends and family. But on the flip side, it did kind of take away from the leadership development and helping people really step into that leadership role because everybody's got the attributes and the potential to be a leader. It's just whether or not they want to and if they're willing to develop those skills. But for us, because we did this before social media existed, we really did develop our like presentation skills and building relationships and like these things that are so important. And then of course we also were really big into teaching people like language, scripts, follow-up strategies, things that are important in any line of work, any industry, especially in sales and entrepreneurship, because really entrepreneurship starts out as just like you're just selling something that you believe in. We've all seen Shark Tank, right? We've all seen how people, they'll essentially put themselves in debt or borrow against their homes, borrow from friends and family, whatever it takes, because they have this dream that their product, their business, their mission will be a big business one day and it'll be super profitable. And I think the reality is a lot of people are realizing that, you can't just wing it anymore. You can't just, post up your product and hope people are going to buy it. Maybe when the economy was booming, but now people are definitely more reserved and more skeptical of spending money, and they have a budget now. I mean, all the things, which that's a whole other conversation, but it's definitely had, you know, some huge advantages for us in the network marketing space to teach people how to build a brand, build a list, and generate leads so they don't have to rely on just pitching their friends and family.
Okay, so let's double down on that, because you've helped literally thousands of people build businesses, build their brand. And when you look back at the ones who made it versus the ones who didn't, obviously you're saying all of these things are very important: skills, mindset, timing. But what is that X factor? What's that real differentiator that you just like, hey, this guy doesn't have it, this lady doesn't have it, they're not going to have the success they're probably looking for? What does that look like?
I think it's a combination of mentorship and coachability.
Okay.
You know, it's always easy to coach someone that's coachable, obviously. I think that's the X factor. It's like, are they willing to do because, you know, in the early days, I was terrified of public speaking. That was like my big fear. Now, I didn't say it like that. It was just, no, I'm not doing it. They're like, why not? Because I don't want to. You told me I didn't have to do public speaking. You told me all I had to do is bring people. So when they were like, hey, John, you should start presenting, I was like, absolutely not. No way. No how. I'm like, if you say my name, I'll walk out. Like, I was literally like that. I was such a like pain in the ass, I'm sure. I always said I wasn't uncoachable. I was uncontrollable. But that was a big thing for me. Like, I was terrified of public speaking. And one of the guys on my team was doing a presentation, and it was so bad and so embarrassing. I was humiliated because I'm like, that's my guy. And he's terrible, but at least he's doing it. Here I am. I'm sitting here watching him do it. I'm the one that brought him in. Like, I'm such a wuss. I need to get up there. And then somebody said the people in front of the room make the most money. I'm like, I do want to make the most money, so I guess I'm gonna have to suck it up. And I remember going up there and like blacking out, being completely terrified. But yeah, the bottom line is being coachable and having a mentor, because, you know, a mentor can essentially help you fine tune things. Or, yeah, I mean, look, you could read one book or have one mentor that could save you like 5 years. You could go to one event, listen to one podcast that gives you one idea that saves you 5 years, right? Like, I think that'd be worth it to learn from somebody that can give you advice, can make recommendations, can steer you in the right direction. So for me, that was a big piece, especially in the early years, because I was naturally negative. I didn't realize that. I didn't even know there was a such thing as being negative, being positive. Thoughts are things, like and then I had a mentor. And every time I'd say something, she's like, are you giving me an excuse or a result? Because you can't have both. Make money or make excuses. You can't have both. And so like every time I wanted to like complain, justify, make an excuse, I would think about that. Even today, 25 years later, I'm telling you this story. So having a mentor and being coachable, I think is very, very important, because I do believe anybody can be successful in business if they truly believe in what they're doing. If you believe in what you're doing and you're willing to commit to it, anything's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to shift into lead generation and prospecting. Lead generation is where most entrepreneurs really get stuck. What's the single biggest mistake you see people make when they're trying to build that pipeline, and how do you fix it?
I think this is just from our line of work, what we do. I think having a freebie, free challenges, a free download, having a freebie so that you can get people's attention and they raise their hand, they say, I want that. And they have to exchange either an email, a phone number, you know, they get on a text list, an email list. Like, there should be, maybe you have a Facebook group. Maybe you have, you know, I know you guys do a lot on LinkedIn. I'm sure there's things on LinkedIn that are similar to Facebook where it's like they can be a part of some private community. That's something that we discovered. I mean, this is well over a decade, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are aware of this, but like, you know, if you want to generate leads, it's really important that you have something that can build that list of leads that's free, some type of freebie, something where they have to opt in, they have to request information. All of our best marketers, I mean, we have people on our team that, you know, they have 1 million TikTok followers, or they have 400,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram. Whoop de freaking doodah. Who cares how many followers you have if they're not opting into your list and you're not getting them off social media so that you can communicate with them somewhere else? I think that's a very important piece. And you know, with Canva and ChatGPT and Claude and all these like AI apps and tools now, it's not that difficult to like, you just have to be resourceful. Say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to create a freebie, a free challenge, a free group, a free PDF, something that can help my ideal client, but it has to be something like simple that they can digest and get a result. Because if they get a result on a freebie, when I do say, hey, I've got this paid subscription, I've got this upgraded membership, I have this, high ticket, low ticket, whatever product, they'll be more open to buying because they got so much value for free.
So let's jump into exactly this, because obviously lead prospecting is a core skill. And you mentioned AI, right? In the world of automation, AI outreach, mass mailing, is the authentic one-on-one prospecting still the most
Yes.
effective approach, or does it depend on the business? Where do you see this going?
Well, I'd say it depends on the person, the individual, because if someone is like a really strong marketer, like I have some people on my team that they're just, I, I sometimes look at them and watch them and go, I can't do what they do. And they're on my team. I mentor them, but they do things that are like, and I think some of them, they've gotten so good at the story and the positioning. It's like automatic. It just rolls off their tongue. Like in the beginning, they probably used teleprompters and, but now it's like they just rip for like 30, 60 or 90-second reels. They're always in their stories. They're always sharing their personal testimonial. They're sharing other people's transformation pictures and results. And, they always, facts tell, stories sell, right? So they're always sharing their personal experience and other people's stories on a consistent basis, but they definitely have that pitch down. I mean, it's like it just rolls off their tongue. They say the same thing over and over and over. And sometimes people say, well, I don't want to be redundant and I don't want to be repetitive and saying the same things over and over again. Well, first of all, on social media, maybe if you're lucky and you're really, really dynamic and you're really, really talented, maybe 5% of your followers see your content. And these days, what does Gary Vee call it now? He says it's not even social media, it's now interest media. So now you could have literally no following. You could have no following, but you do a really well done video and it can pop off because people are just interested in it. They don't even know who you are. They don't care how many followers you have. They're like, this is funny, or this is eye opening or interesting, whatever that is. And I think that's like such an important piece nowadays that you don't have to have a big following to make a lot of money. I have people on my team that like, they actually kind of suck at social media, but they have a lot of influence and they have a lot of relationships. So when they promote something, whether it's one-on-one or it's on their Facebook page or their Instagram, their LinkedIn, whatever, they get a lot of people responding to them because they have that trust, and they have that social equity.
Yeah. So let me double down on this, because Gary just said something on one of his posts just recently, because I saw that when you were talking about versus social media versus interest media. Walk me through what he's saying right now about analog is the new 2050, right? So 2050 is going back to 1850, where it's social events, face to face. I know you do a lot of events. I know you work with events in your business. Take me through that one-to-one, whether it's like this face to face on Zoom, or whether it's in an actual physical location. How important is that live human element versus the social media piece that we're seeing right now?
I think it's crucial. I think it's more crucial than it's ever been, because at the end of the day, people, again, that trust recession is a real thing, right? People are like, I don't know if this is a real person. I don't know what I'm watching or seeing. Like I mean, go to the comments on any video, especially like if it's like, and I don't want to get political, but you see these videos from like, the war or, things that are going on in the world that are like, in other, and you'll see in the comments, people are like, hey, Grok, is this real? Or people are like, is this AI? Like people don't know what they're watching. And then you'll see like some of these sites like X, right? It'll say that this video is actually from 3 years ago. And it's like, oh crap. Like even I was like about to share that, and you're like, oh, that's a 3 year, that's so annoying. But that's what people do.
Right.
That's just, so yes, in person, I don't remember where I heard this the first time, but what I do in network marketing, people might even listen or watch this and go, oh, that's like one of those pyramid things. Yeah, I get it. We've been hearing that for 25 years. With that being said, we used to always say, especially in the old school days before social media, we would talk so much about in person, because when you meet people in person, they know you're not a psychopath. At least they're hoping you're not, because they met you, right? It's like there is something to be said about when you physically like shake a hand, you meet someone in person, you break bread, you go out to lunch, dinner, whatever, you're at an event with that person, you naturally trust that person more than someone that you're just like following on social media. So yes, the connection, like I still send out audio clips all the time. I still get on the phone with people. All of that is super important, but in person, nothing can replace that. There is something about being with people, whether it's a leadership retreat. We have a couple like really big homes down in Destin, Florida. So we'll host these like big leadership retreats. Like our next one is in May, and we probably have about 32 people coming, 32 of our top producers. And we're going to spend, I think it's like 2.5, 3 days with them, something like that. So yes, in-person events, whether it's bigger events with hundreds of people, thousands of people, or it's more intimate, like leadership type masterminds. We've been doing masterminds for 10 years. So yeah, in-person events for 25 years, being a part of masterminds for the last decade, running our own leadership retreats. I think they're invaluable for sure, especially if you're in a business that is like, real estate sales, direct sales, high ticket, anything, online marketing, because a lot of us are at home alone, right? We're not in an office all day, every day. Like to be with people like once a month, maybe once a quarter, whatever that is, and then go back to your respected markets and do what you do. Like I love working from home, but there is something about like when you're with people for 2, 3, 4 days, you just come back like reinvigorated, like your battery is charged, your bucket is full, like you're ready to crush for me. And I think a lot of people feel that way these days, especially with, again, like the COVID thing and just people are just sick and tired of just being at home and just living on this little device all day, every day,
Yeah, definitely. What's a principle from network marketing prospecting you think traditional B2B sales teams or entrepreneurs could steal?
The fortune's in the follow-up. I mean, I know sometimes it's like people will say, well, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be a stalker. I will take a stalker. I will take an annoying marketer, a salesperson all day long versus someone that's so worried about. I mean, I used to be that way, so I understand. Like, I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to be like that type of person. But this is what's tough is after years and years and years of doing this, there's been so many examples of people that I wasn't even following up with them. I was just staying in touch with them, nurturing the relationship, being a good human, not because, I have some agenda. Although I do say it's nice to be nice, but being nice is also a strategy because if you're a good human and you treat people well, they're probably going to want to continue doing business with you. Like if you sell someone a house and they never hear from you again, at some point that person is going to buy another house. Are you dumb? Like, why wouldn't you stay in touch with that person? That's a happy client. Same thing in our business, right? So it doesn't take me long. Every morning, I'm not kidding. Every morning, still today, running a multi-million-dollar business, I still wish people happy birthday. Maybe not every day, but like, let's say today, I wish people happy birthday today. I wish them a happy early birthday for tomorrow, and I wish them a happy belated birthday if I missed a couple days. Does that make sense? So almost every day, I'm still wishing people happy birthday. I'm still randomly reaching out to people. I just randomly engage on people's posts, their stories. I'll send out 5 text messages a day, audio clips, text messages. Like I just want to be a good human, be a friend first and a marketer second. And it's amazing how you'll just attract people to you, or when they're looking for what you have to offer, they'll reach out to you because maybe they've been following you for years. Maybe they just love how you interact with your kids or your wife, or they see, like I've had people join my team because they're like, damn, man, you're like at all your son's baseball games. I always have to work. Like, I wish I could do something where I could make money and go to all these travel games. And I'm like, well, I do have a solution for you. So I think that's like such an important piece. And I'm sure like you have a lot of people that are in some type of B2B sales. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to go. I've been in that office like 4, 5, 6 times. It's like, okay, great. They say the majority of people buy after 7 to 10 touches. So this is important. Like even when I was in mortgage sales, I'd have people say, you know what? Not right now. Call me back in a year. And I'm not kidding. I put it in my little CRM 1 year because a year's going to pass. That's how I was thought. Like a year's going to pass. So it was 1 year later to the day. And I'm like, hey, Bob, just touching base. Hope you're well. We spoke a year ago. You told me to follow up in 1 year. So it's been 365 days. Hope you're doing well. Would love to catch up and blah, blah, blah. Anyway. And they're like, dude, you literally called me 365 days. That is insane. Like that in itself demands respect. And I never pressure people either. So I might say, like if I was doing B2B sales and they say, hey, listen, it's not good timing. Hey, no problem. I totally get it. I'm sure you get a lot of people like me coming in your office. Let me ask you this. Is there a time that I could come back in a week, a month, a year, or never to, have another conversation? How easy would that be to say? And it's kind of funny. So it kind of like lets their guard down a little bit and like, you know what? Come back in a week. come back in a month. Or they might say, you know what? Don't ever bother coming back here. Like, we're never going to do business with you. Cool. You just saved me time. So I think just having that direct conversation and knowing that like this business and really any business you're in, so much of it is relationships and staying in touch. And I want to point out this one thing. This is actually a really good point I made the other day on one of my trainings. It's like, just because you used to be friends with someone doesn't necessarily mean, or you used to have a good relationship, that relationship is going to maintain that status, if you will. So let me give you an example. I'm 45. If I reach out to someone from high school right now, I'm like, what's up, Jerry? How are things? Blah, blah, blah. Jerry's going to be like, John? Dude, I haven't heard from you in like 20 years. So we might have been buddies back then, but me hitting him up after 20 years and immediately going straight for the jugular with my pitch, that's not going to work. But if I've been staying in touch with Jerry on and off for the last 20 years, he might be open. He might be like, you know what? The timing is good. What's going on? What's that new company? What's that new thing you've been promoting? All of a sudden, I'm in the driver's seat, right? But it's because I stayed in touch. So that's an important thing too. You can't just, follow up with someone when you have an agenda, when you have your initiative. Staying in touch with people and literally not even talking about your product or your business is probably one of the most impactful things that you can do. And I get the B2B, I get the in-person, but getting connected with them on social and staying in touch with them that way too. That way you're kind of hitting them from both fronts, in person and online.
So I just want to testify. I've known John for 24 years. We're both the same exact age. And he has sent me a voice note on my birthday every year for the last 24 years.
There you go.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
And it's on Christmas, so it's hard to remember, but he still does it anyway. So I appreciate you. Let's double down and back. I know we talked a bit about it, social media.
Yeah.
But let's double down deep into this because you train social media. It's almost everything you're training right now. I love it. But most entrepreneurs are either super invisible or they're just posting randomly without any strategy whatsoever. And, Lexi, myself, our company, we post over 250 posts organically on LinkedIn. It's 40% of our new business is coming from LinkedIn and social media. So walk us through it. What is separating the people who are really building audiences with real pipeline for it or the ones who are just creating random noise?
So a few things. Number one, our organization over the last decade did $450 million. My wife and I probably made close to $20 million and, had a lot of financial success, but it took about 16 years to figure that out. I always say we're a 16-year-old overnight success story, but it was social media that changed the game for us. We went from multiple six figures a year to multiple six figures a month. And, quite frankly, one of the things that is super important is to not be boring. I wish it was more complicated than that, but it is that simple. If your content isn't doing well, it's because it's not interesting. I don't know. I just told you, it's not social media anymore. It's interest media, right? I got that from Gary Vaynerchuk. And I think he hit the nail on the head, as he always does. He's always very ahead of the curve on these things. And, it's funny. I don't even listen to Gary that much. But when it pops up in my feed, it's like, it's probably something very interesting and something that's getting a lot of engagement. And that's one of the things that makes a lot of sense, that in this day and age, does not matter how many followers you have. Like, I can do a post with my huge following and get crickets because it's uninteresting. That's it. The algorithm identifies immediately if it's good or not based on shares, likes, comments, all the things. So you got to mix it up. You got to pivot. What worked 5 years ago doesn't work today. And if what you're doing is working, double down on it. Go all in because it's not going to work forever. That is just the evolution of social media, of internet marketing. It's constantly changing. It's frustrating, to say the least, right? You got to be excited about it. And I know some people say, "Oh, I just hate social media. I hate having great content all the time." That's cool. I get it. And, maybe it's best that you figure out a different way. Maybe you outsource it. Maybe you have someone come and record you and you batch create content. If you don't know what some of these things mean, hit the Google, hit ChatGPT. ChatGPT can give you a whole 30-day posting strategy. I mean, it's Claude. All these platforms are insane with how they can help you come up with content, but you have to be the creative. You have to be the one ultimately clicking the buttons and making the decisions on who you want to attract, what problems you want to solve, and you got to fit it into the 3 E's. It either has to be entertaining, empowering, or educational. And I'll say for us, I like entertainment, where it's like it's entertaining, but also you're learning something. Like, those were always my favorite people to listen to. So I think you have to figure out what works for you, and you have to do your best not to be boring. It doesn't matter if you're like monotone. It doesn't matter. Just like, okay, you're going to talk slow and monotone. Maybe you show up as a character on social media. Maybe you do interviews or you do videos with your kids. Like, figure out a way to be interesting and figure out a way to do something that you're interested in. Because if you're excited about it, you're passionate about it, and you do it consistently, you will get better for sure. And I think that's the other problem on the flip side is people just try something out for like a week or two, like, oh, it doesn't work. It's like, dude, like, it's been a week or two. Like, tell me after 90 days of creating 60 pieces of content. For the next 90 days, create 60, maybe 90, maybe create 200 pieces of content. Like, just go balls to the wall. Then after 90 days, you can reevaluate because you really went all in and created a ton of content during that period of time. So I think that's a really important thing to understand is that you know, what worked a few years ago isn't going to work today, and you have to be willing sometimes to completely pivot and go in a different direction.
I like that a lot. Definitely have some ideas in my mind just from listening. So, really cool. Want to shift here to recruitment and team building. Recruitment is one of the hardest parts of building any organization. What's your
Mhm.
framework for finding and attracting the right people?
I like talking to people that have an entrepreneurial spirit, people that are, familiar with affiliate marketing, direct sales. Now, I've been doing it for 25 years, so obviously most of my audience it's that type of person, right? But also, I create content that would attract those kinds of people. So if you went to my primary platform is Facebook. We have content everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. But primarily, I focus on Facebook. That's where I create my content. And I always tell people you should have one hub where you create your content. Like, you guys use LinkedIn a lot, so you create your content there, but then the same content there can be posted in other places, even if you have to make it shorter or make it more a video version or what's it called? Where it has like 5, 6, 7 different pictures. What's that called? Help me.
Carousel.
Carousel.
Carousel, yeah. Nadia does carousels all the time. Like, she's very good at those, right? She has the patience and the diligence. Like, she's very analytical, and it's always so good. She'll send me like what she creates, and I'm like, I don't know how you come up with this stuff. Like, I would just never have the patience or tolerance. But she's very good at that. That's like her wheelhouse, right? Where me, I just like to record videos for 30, 60, 90 seconds and rip. Then I might go live for literally an hour. I'll just talk for an hour. It's insane. Like, people are like, how do you just talk for an hour? I'm like, I honestly don't know. I just have a lot on my mind. But it's funny how many entrepreneurs have like ADD and ADHD, whatever it's called. And I heard Rob Sperry say one time, ADHD, a dude has dreams. I just think there's a lot of people out there that are like us, very outgoing, very entrepreneurial. But unfortunately, you're gonna have to sort through the duds to find those studs. And they have to have like that entrepreneurial spirit where they're willing to do something that's performance based, not just like clock in, clock out mentality, right? So those are the kinds of people I like to attract for sure. And I'm sure you guys, same thing, right? You want to work with people that have that entrepreneurial spirit and they think outside the box.
Absolutely. So recruiting, getting them in is one skill and you're a master at it, but keeping them in, the culture, the retaining of the rep or the sales rep, right?
Yeah.
How do you develop them? How do those leaders start to rise? What are people getting wrong about, keeping a productive team versus just, bringing someone in and then having them churn out or burn out?
Uh, it's a little hard in our business compared to maybe like if I got a job as like a mortgage banker or selling solar, selling real estate, selling cars, you're probably showing up to like a job where you're getting trained. It's like, there's probably some type of minimum salary, I would assume, or hourly, whatever. But in our business, it's 100% commission. It's network marketing, a lot like affiliate marketing. I always say network marketing is affiliate marketing on steroids. It's you're sharing links, promoting products, making money. Like, we pay 15% at first, but very quickly, once they get 3 customers, are at 20%, and eventually they get all the way up to 40% commissions. And I have people that do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month in personal sales. So, and these are all consumable products that people use on the daily, they order on the monthly. So some of these people are making 6 figures just from personal sales in our business. And then they're also doing TikTok shop and they're doing other things. They're getting sponsors that are sending them stuff anyway, the point is there's so many ways to monetize your knowledge, your skill set, whatever. So we're helping them make money. We're helping them do their first few posts. We're helping them use the scripts and launching their business. And yeah, what we do isn't for everyone. And there are a lot of people that get their hopes up, they get excited, and they tell a few people, and those people, are like, no, that's dumb. That's stupid. What are you doing? Like, you're wasting your money, your time. I would never do something like that. And unfortunately, those people are dream stealers. So that person gives up before they even got started. That does happen. But the bottom line is, if I can help them get a result, if I can help them get a win, whether it's a customer, make their first check, hit their first rank, get some positive results in that first 30 days, there's more likelihood of them sticking with it. But on the flip side, there are a lot of people, it's just, they just don't have the patience. They're not willing to embarrass themselves, in the beginning, right? Like, I get people that are like, I'll never do videos. I won't do videos. And I'm like, tell me more about that. Why not? They're like, well, I suck at it. I'm like, okay. How many videos have you done? They're like, well, none. I'm like, well, typically people do suck at things they've never done. Just FYI. That's not like oh, I got to really believe in what I'm selling. I'm like, that's everybody. Like, these silly I don't have a lot of time. Like, okay, got it. But so you work a job. Like, yeah, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. Okay, cool. What do you do with the other like 12 to 14 hours? You know what I mean? Like, you only sleep for like, 6, 7, 8, right? 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep. There's another 8 hours. Like, people just get so caught up in their head. Why? Because they're afraid to get their hopes up. They're afraid to do something outside the box. Like, people want to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die, right? Like, people are wantrepreneurs. So they want to have more money. They want to have more freedom. But then it's like, oh, but I don't want to do those things. That's uncomfortable. So for me, I just try to get them small wins to build up their confidence so that they start doing things outside their comfort zone, because they've got to love. It's kind of like working out, actually. Like, you go to the gym for a few days, you ain't going to see much. You're probably going to be real sore. You're not going to like it. But if you can just like push through those first couple weeks, and you see like a little definition in your arm, right? Or you're like, oh, I lost a little bit of my love handles, or right? Like, I mean, we're all the same. Like, even skinny people think they're fat. They're like, oh, I got a little something there. The point is, once you start to get a little progress, you lose a few pounds, right? Someone says, hey, you look different. You're like, oh shit. So then you like start doing more with it. So that's my same mindset in this business. It's like, just give them a few small wins, because then the momentum kicks in.
Right.
And on the flip side of helping others, your drive is incredible. Where did it come from, and how do you keep yourself personally from not burning out?
I'm obsessed. I mean, what's Grant Cardone say? Be obsessed or be average. Like, if you're not absolutely fired up, and if you don't have people telling you you're dumb, you're crazy, it's not going to work, friends and family not supporting you, people making fun of you, like, you're probably not doing much. Like, all my buddies used to bust my, I'm not going to say that, but, they used to tease me in the early days. And yeah, I make more in a month than most of them make in a year now. And I was the loser. I was the drunk punk, getting in all kinds of fights and getting arrested and dropping out of school. Like, I hated school so much. I only liked the social part. And, I quit drinking. I quit smoking. I made big, bold decisions. I got married at a young age. I had a family at a young age. So I think a lot of that, kind of started or initiated that motivation. But also, I think part of it was just, I didn't want to do anything else. There was nothing else I wanted to do. Like, what else? I could go get a job and build someone else's company? No, thank you. Like, I just wasn't interested in that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, the whole like clock in and clock out and sit at a cubicle all day and I used to actually, the thing that used to terrify me the most, this is kind of funny, I'm just thinking about this, is I used to hate the idea of like waking up early to go to work, living paycheck to paycheck, having more month than money, sitting in rush hour traffic. I'm like, that just sounds like a horrible idea. Like, I thought there was something wrong with me. And then you see entrepreneurship, and it's funny because I remember when I first got network marketing, they're like, we're going to do these presentations 5 times a week, and you're supposed to invite people, and they'd be like 10 o'clock, 12:30, 6:30. And I'm like, oh, this is so, I can sleep in, I can show up. Like, the earliest I have to be there is 10 a.m. And then I got a job in the mortgage industry, and it was the same shit. It was like, show up to work at 10. That's like the earliest. And then you can leave by like 6 or 7. And then there's other days you come in at 12, you leave at 9. I love that, because at that time I was young, I'm out late, like drinking, partying, or I'm watching movies at home. Like, you're not like, I was a night owl, right? I'm not like waking up early. So to me, it was like, oh my gosh, like this whole sales thing's amazing, because, you can basically make a lot of money just being cool and talking to people all day. That's what I thought. And I don't have to be here at 7, 8, 9 in the morning. To me, that was motivation enough so that I didn't have to wait tables and, be a server. So I think everybody's going to find different reasons when they first get started versus years later. Now I'm all about impact and purpose and, you know, building an empire, building something that like will last beyond my lifetime. But in those early days, it was like, I just don't want to live at home with my parents. I don't want to be a loser. And then eventually having a son, it was like, I don't want to be a father that can't afford things and, you know, whatever. So for me, that was like my motivation early on. And then of course it evolved over time.
All right. So hot takes as we close. Entrepreneurs out there, remote sales leaders that are out there, they're struggling with prospecting. They're struggling with lead gen. What is the one thing you should tell them right now to get them unstuck?
Gosh, just depends on the person. I really like telling people to do a video every day where they're sharing their story, sharing their product, talking about the benefits, 5 minutes, just like a 5-minute live video every morning. If you're terrified of doing live videos because so many people overthink it, just do reels, do stories, like talk for, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 90. You got to put out content in this day and age. And you might say, well, that's not really what I want to do. Sure. But at least that can like hone in what you want to talk about, because a lot of us get that analysis paralysis and we're thinking about all the different directions we could go in instead of just talking it out on camera and just putting out content. That's how I figured it out. This is before live video, but I would just start putting out, videos, and people were responding to it. Things that I thought like everybody knew or I thought nobody would care about, those were the videos getting the most engagement. Then I would create videos. I'm like, oh, this shit's going to pop off. People are going to love this. And it got crickets. You have no idea what people are going to be interested in. It's kind of hilarious, actually, how like I'll do some posts and it just blows up. And I'm like, really? That must have struck a chord. And then other things that I'm like, oh, this is really going to get someone fired. And it's just like, tumbleweeds. It's like you get a couple likes, couple comments, 1-word comments. That's not a good post if it's 1-word comments. For like people doing like amen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's cool. But like when people are leaving like little paragraphs in the comments, you're like, oh, that's a hot topic right there. So you just got to put yourself out there. And it doesn't have to be live video, but that is what I like telling people to do, because I think it's important for them just to talk it out and get over that fear or that worry of like, we all have like a brother-in-law or a coworker or a high school buddy or a neighbor. And we're so worried, what is this person going to think about me? And it's so dumb because it's like, I'm sorry. Are they wealthy? Do they pay your bills? If the answer to those two questions is no and no, who cares what they think? So I think the sooner people can get over that fear, and the best way to get over it is just doing the FaceTime videos.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, John, for coming on. Who is the right person that should be reaching out to you, and what's the best way for them to connect?
They can just message me on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is, team. Message John on Facebook if you want to hear more. He's all over it. He has amazing videos and content, as he just mentioned. So definitely follow John and Nadia. They're amazing individuals. I know that for the last 2.5 decades. Thanks for your friendship, man. I appreciate it.
That's crazy, bro. That's 2.5 decades. That's wild.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Please keep doing the hard things. Listen to what John said. Go out there and make it happen. Get uncomfortable. And Lexi and I will see you on the next one.